All right. I just want to share a little clip. Catching up on Jordan Peterson's discussions, and this one was just too good to not catch, so I have to share this.
It's true, but at the same time, I think that Aristophanes, the Greek satirist, Greek humorist, was a conservative, right? He was making fun of the kind of very abstract folks. He was making fun of the philosophers of the time, kind of lampooning them. So there is a tradition, but I think since the 1960s, we've become so used to this idea that art can only be left wing, free speech can only be left wing, freedom can only be a left wing value, but it's really not the case historically, and I think it's certainly not the case now. Actually, they've taken all of those values and they've folded them in on themselves, and so we have this euphemistic culture, whether it's a kind of left-wing conception of freedom or left-wing conception of diversity and inclusion. You can go on down the line and you say, hey, wait a minute, you're not actually meaning what you say you mean. All of these things have to be lampooned, they have to be exposed, they have to be ridiculed. And that's why I think something like the Babylon Bee is successful. I think you have more comedians, actually the kind of most exciting and dynamic comedians of our time may not be conservatives, but they're certainly lampooning that kind of left-wing orthodoxy. And so we're seeing the shift now, and it's because the left has institutional control. Look, government agencies, universities, K through 12 schools, prestige media organizations. If you understand the culture, and I think I've documented this in my reporting over the last few years, this is pure left-wing ideology. It's the kind of identity politics. It's the Angela Davis style of activism. It's kind of the critical theory style of assessing society from Marcuse and others. This is the establishment. And so as the kind of anti-establishment became the establishment, really with the baby boomer generation, we live in a new world. And conservatives, unfortunately, still act like, the world is run by, the guys sitting around the country club table. That's not true at all. The world is run by,
crazy bitches,
the PBS employees, the NPR employees, the New York Times employees,
Berkeley graduates.
Berkeley grads. And look, I know these folks. I have a good relationship with a lot of people in left-wing media, which is surprising to folks. But I've worked with them. They've come to visit me at my home. They've done profiles, etc. I've talked to them on the phone for stories. A lot of these folks actually agree with us. They probably don't agree with my style. They don't agree with my approach. They probably think it's a little bit barbarian, my level of aggression and assertiveness. And they'll tell me, behind the scenes, behind closed doors, say, I think you're right. I think this stuff is crazy. It's gone too far. I certainly want my kids to be indoctrinated in this. But I can't say anything because I have, my position at the newspaper. I have my position in academia.
I'm coward is really the fundamental issue there.
I think that's right.
I say that with all due respect. Look, I had a lot of clients who had to reorganize their lives because they were being tyrannized, and they had to strategize about how to regain control of their tongue and their life. But the idea that I agree with you, but I just can't say anything, it's like, what do you mean just can't? It's like you're sacrificing your soul on a day-to-day basis. And the fact that 5% of the population who's like truly radically activist can control the whole damn show on the left because the 90% of people who have some sense won't say anything is not an excuse by any stretch of the imagination for their behavior. And I know you're not making that excuse. Let's segue.
Right? Love it. Hello, Bob. I just had to share that bit because he's absolutely right. No fucking excuse. Yeah, the 5% of radicals controlling everybody. People are too afraid to speak up. The enablers is what is allowing our society to be destroyed. So, thanks, JP, for saying that. Y'all have a good day.